the CBC NewsNight. The central bank taking action on the issue of commercial bank fees. The Prime Minister addresses the challenge of accessing reinsurance. And in sports, Hayley Matthews slams another ton as Windies women sweep Pakistan in their ODI series.
Broadcasting from our studios in the Pine St. Michael, this is CBC NewsNight, starting now.
Good evening and welcome to the CBC NewsNight. I'm Wendy Burke. The vexing issue of commercial bank fees has attracted the attention of the Central Bank of Barbados to the extent that it is about to take action. Mere months after the institution instructed banks to discontinue fees for customer online transfers between local banks, Governor Dr. Kevin Greenidge is indicating that they're going a step further. Crystal Hoyt has the details.
A new set of guidelines governing how commercial banks set fees will be introduced in a matter of weeks. This from Governor of the Central Bank, Dr. Kevin Greenidge, who promised to review the fee structure of commercial banks back in 2023. The framework follows extensive consultations.
Whereby the Central Bank will now issue a set of guidelines respective framing the space for which fees and charges would apply, and trying to carve out areas where we say, okay, here we want to push financial intermediation, we want to protect the small businessman, we want to protect the individual customer. So this is how you treat this group. Here, corporates, that's a different story. You treat this group.
Banks in Barbados are making millions in profit, primarily from fees and commissions paid by consumers who are generally getting an interest rate on savings of less than 1%. There has been recent criticism by consumer advocates and others, particularly about their fees. And Governor Greenidge says the changes will benefit Barbadians.
Which will see perhaps what we'll call more level playing field with respect to fees and with respect to the way in which we operate with banks operate with customers.
The modernization of the banking sector remains a priority for the central bank. Crystal Hoyt, CBC News.
Dr. Greenidge was among the Barbados delegation in Washington, United States for the International Monetary Fund's spring meeting. Prime Minister Mia Motley led the Barbados team. Now, among the issues she and other officials addressed was that of reinsurance. An increase in climate-related events like hurricanes, volcano eruptions and other disasters could put the Caribbean at risk of losing access to reinsurance, or in the case of Barbados, affordable rates. Crystal Hoyt also has that story.
Increasing reinsurance premiums globally remain a concern for Prime Minister of Barbados, Mia Motley. The hikes in insurance costs come at a time when some insurers are taking even more drastic action in a number of places, withdrawing from states such as California and Florida because of the wildfires and flooding respectively. With the issue already hitting closer to home, I asked Prime Minister Motley about the implications. The Caribbean, given the climate crisis, is at risk. Yep. Tell me about the implications of losing access to reinsurance totally, or losing access to reinsurance at an affordable rate.
Well, let me break it down simple. You're going to buy a house, you get a mortgage. You need a mortgage, you need mortgage insurance. If people can't get insurance for that, they're in trouble. Or the cost of the insurance is prohibitive, then you may not get the loan. If you can't get the loan, you'll have to go back to how people used to build houses in the past. Remember when people used to buy 50 blocks and put down, and another 50 blocks and put down?
From a global perspective, Causeway Hen, Secretary General of the Insurance Development Forum, IDF, says access to reinsurance is critical.
We have islands in the Caribbean that we know overnight lose 200% in terms of GDP. And as you said, insurance is very important because it's about how do you ensure there's access to financing that can help not only governments, but also people, communities cope.
She notes that there are strategies on the table, but they would call for integration.
The Caribbean actually pioneered the first multi-country risk pool in the world. And that was driven by the efforts of the Caribbean to really try to figure out how can they access, to your point, better insurance rates and increase just access to coverage across the Caribbean.
Ms. Iahen stresses the need to invest in resilience to reduce risks.
The fact is that we are going to be seeing more and more increasing events, shocks happening. We have to think carefully about where we are building our infrastructure, what is the quality of that infrastructure, and that is an important factor because that informs the exposure and the vulnerabilities within countries.
Reinsurance rates are projected to peak in 2024. Reporting from Washington, D.C., Crystal Hoyt, CBC News.
With the ICC T20 Cricket World Cup drawing near, Barbados' government has brought legislation that will make provision for the efficient and effective staging of the 2024 Games. Attorney General and Minister of Legal Affairs Dale Marshall, in moving the ICC Cricket World Cup West Indies 2024 bill, says other host countries will be doing the same. During the period, Cricket West Indies will have unrestricted control of 2024 stadia during matches. Those include Kensington Oval, the grounds at the University of the West Indies, Weymouth and Windwards. According to Mr. Marshall, the bill is sunset legislation.
It is simply a statutory arrangement where the bill itself states that the operation of the bill, the operation of the act when passed, will end on a particular date. Cricket World Cup, Mr. Speaker, ends on the 30th of June, and therefore the very last provision in this bill says this act expires on the 30th of June 2024. So all of the matters that are covered off in this act in terms of restrictions and so on will end on that particular date.
Mr. Marshall, while looking back on the 2007 World Cup, says there were some provisions that worked then that remain in practice today.
Because at the time we did them, we understood that there were going to be important legacy benefits. And I expect that my colleagues will point out to the country and to this chamber what some of those legacy benefits will be. But in addition to the physical legacy benefits and others, there have been some legacy benefits of Cricket World Cup in the law enforcement area that continue to serve us well. The formation of CARICOM impacts, the establishment of law enforcement agencies that are specialized under CARICOM impacts, our ability to do advanced passenger information.
Opposition leader Ralph Thorne is asking questions about the $5 million government is spending to spruce up and renovate structures at Oystins Bay Garden for the finals of the upcoming Men's T20 Cricket World Cup. He called for answers about how that sum of money will be spent.
We are not impressed that $5 million has anything to do with cricket development. We suspect, and when I say we, the people in Oystins as well, suspect that it is part of a political subsidy and that a time will come when they will have to give account for the spending of that large sum of money when we have people in this country who are not doing well, and you take $5 million and send it up the road and no account.
Senior Minister in the Prime Minister's office with responsibility for coordinating infrastructural projects, Dr. William Duguid, hit back at the criticism of the $5 million being spent at Oystins Bay Gardens. He noted the facelift is overdue and it will benefit both locals and tourists.
Mr. Speaker, this was a previous program. All we did was bring it forward because we knew that Cricket World Cup was coming and we had to make our place look better. But if COVID had not intervened, these things would have been done already. And let me make it clear, it is not only for the visitors, because visitors only here for a couple of weeks. It is for the people that enjoy Oystins every Friday night.
City MP Corey Lane has stressed the money Barbados is spending on World Cup preparations will last beyond the short term and well into the future. According to him, it is not squandermania, but city residents, vendors, entrepreneurs and Barbadians at large will be the main beneficiaries of the neighborhood upgrades, improved lighting and jobs as time rolls on.
Come July 1st, the Pelican Fan Zone will remain. It will be transformed into another nightlife and even day life activity that those from not only just the cruise ship and thing can participate in. Come July 1st, all of the material structure and improvements at Oysteins at Kensington Oval will remain, and they will not leave the island, and it allows for greater capacity for people to hold shows, to hold events, and for economic activity to occur in the country.
Coming up, Barbados and other interveners plead their climate change case before the Inter-American Court of Human Rights. Barbados is among dozens of interveners pleading their cases concerning climate change at the Inter-American Court of Human Rights over the next few days. Minister of Foreign Affairs Carrie Symonds, in addressing the opening session yesterday, spoke about how the deliberations would go.
This historic 166th session will take the form of an in-person public hearing of the judicial proceedings and has been initiated, as you heard, by the governments of Chile and Colombia, who have requested an advisory opinion of the court on the central question of, and I quote, the climate emergency and human rights. Over the course of the next few days, the court will hear the pleadings and arguments of 64 interveners who have made written submissions, and Barbados is exceptionally proud and pleased to be among this body of interveners.
Meanwhile, we're hearing that the IACHR is very clued in to the human rights issues associated with climate change in Barbados. President Nancy Hernandez Lopez said, "Let it be known that they see the plight of the region."
In response to these challenges today, we stand on Barbados not merely as spectators, but as guardians of the human rights stated in the Convention at a crossroad of that our region is facing. Madam President, I would like to convey a very strong message. Your human rights issues are not invisible to us. Your human rights challenges are our duties as a court. They are part of our mandate. May your presence here be a reminder of the unwavering commitment of the court to the human rights issues confronting Barbados and the Caribbean region, especially related to the climate change emergency.
Today, the court heard an urgent call from Barbados to intervene in compensating states which do not contribute to climate change but yet are affected by the phenomena. Public international lawyer Professor Robert Volterra submits that Barbados is only concerned with the fourth obligation under the Convention arising from climate change. It places an obligation on states whose conduct contributed to climate change to provide restitution to states that did not and don't have the physical or financial space to ameliorate its harms.
Barbados respectfully submits that this esteemed court must identify, in this advisory opinion, the interstate compensation component of the relevant obligations under the Convention and as informed by customary international law. That is the law. An advisory opinion which does this will address issues of accountability and protection of the vulnerable in a meaningful way. It will have immediate and tangible benefits for the peoples of states that, like Barbados and many of its Caribbean neighbors, face an existential threat from climate change.
Director General of Foreign Affairs and Foreign Trade, Ambassador Donna Ford, says without affirmative action, climate change will erode the livelihoods of Barbadians and some of the island's major tourist attractions. She says Barbados is not one of the countries which causes climate change, but notes the island is predicted to be one of the worst affected.
Barbados is participating in this proceeding before the court because we believe in the rule of law in international relations. Barbadians, like many millions of other people in the Americas and beyond, are looking to the court to identify the applicable international legal norms relevant to climate change that are binding on Organization of American States member states under the convention. Barbados is confident that the court will act in accordance with law and justice. Please do so quickly, because we cannot wait.
Barbados is set to welcome hundreds of descendants of Barbadian immigrants from Liberia next month. They will be on island as they take up an offer made through the inaugural Sankofa Back to Barbados pilgrimage from May 6th to 13th. The pilgrimage is being organized by Ambassador Llewellyn Witherspoon in collaboration with the Barbados government 159 years after our ancestors departed Barbados for Liberia. It also takes place during Barbados' season of emancipation. Special Advisor on Culture and Cultural Heritage, Senator John King, says a packed agenda is planned. He shed some insight on CBC TV8's Morning Barbados.
There's going to be a day at the archives where they have the opportunity then to really start delving into those family ties, pardon the pun, to go into those family ties, you know, and we're inviting Barbadians to really come out and meet them. There's also going to be a time for business, so that it's not just a holiday trip, but it's also, again, looking at how those persons in the diaspora can begin to do business with us.
Barbados could expect some improvement from the significant dust haze impacting the island and its marine area on Thursday. The Barbados Meteorological Service says dust concentrations are likely to decrease from midweek. Acting meteorologist Danielle Nurse is reminding citizens a significant dust haze advisory remains for Barbados.
A plume of Sahara dust haze began to affect Barbados and its marine area from Thursday, the 18th of April 2024, with visibility forecast to reduce to less than 10 kilometers during this haze event. Analysis currently indicates that dust concentrations are likely to decrease from midweek, and therefore a significant dust haze advisory remains in effect for Barbados. Skies will continue to appear slightly yellowish during the day, and a reduction in visibility is expected over the land and marine areas. Persons with respiratory issues or allergies are reminded to travel with or have close at hand all prescribed relevant medications in case of emergencies. Marine users should stay close to shore, particularly if no GPS is in use on the vessels.
Sports Night, brought to you with the compliments of Great Health Works, agents for Omega XL.
Sports time now with Damian Best.
Yes, good evening to you, Wendy. Good evening to our viewers and listeners. Well, the official winners of the 2024 Barbados Tennis Association Interclub Tournament is still pending. Both finalists await the outcome of a protest lodged by Barbados Yacht Club to determine whether all the results from the final against the Barbados Tennis Centre Club will stand. In the final encounter featuring the senior mixed doubles, the pair of Damien Applewhite and Cherise Slocum, representing Tennis Club Centre, needed 8 games in the first to 9 match, and they won 9-4 against Jason Small and Donna Gibbs of Barbados Yacht Club. CBC's Anne Margaret Boyce reports.
The mixed pair of Damien Applewhite and Cherise Slocum in fluorescent green, representing defending champs Tennis Centre Club, battling against Jason Small and Donna Gibbs of Barbados Yacht Club. Early stages, Tennis Centre with the serve, its return, but the volley from Slocum is unanswered. Tennis Centre were firing on all cylinders. Applewhite with the serve and Slocum complements it. That's devastating. However, it wasn't just one-way traffic, as Yacht Club were pretty impressive on their serve. This one was one of the best rallies of the contest, both teams going toe-to-toe before Slocum finds the net. Yacht Club happy with that one, but Tennis Centre responded brilliantly. Check out this forehand winner from Applewhite. That's marvelous. Gets the appreciation from the crowd. Small played a big shot directly after, reached into his pocket and pulled out the ace. Loads of pace and accuracy. Applewhite had no response from the baseline. This was a one-set match. First to 9 was easily poised at 4-4, with Yacht Club the beneficiaries of a few unforced errors. but momentum shifted hands and Tennis Center took full control of the match. This rally ends with a backhand slice from Slocum. Impressive. The backhand was clearly Slocum's strength. This one was also incredible to see. Frustration appeared to be settling in for Yacht Club, and the Tennis Center were not letting up. Applewhite with the volley. The end is near. Applewhite finished off the match with another ace. Game, set, and match. Tennis Center winners over the Yacht Club 9-4. And Mark Goodrich Boyce, CBC Sports.
The Business Report, brought to you by the Youth Entrepreneurship Scheme, a department of the Ministry of Youth and Community Empowerment, supporting young entrepreneurs from idea to enterprise.
The Youth Entrepreneurship Scheme has given life and being to Nostalgia on Ice. The brainchild of the triumvirate of Mikel Aline, Samuel Mapp and Shalika Charles, they've charted a course for the future and are committed to the cause and seeing it come to fruition. Trevor Thorpe reports.
This budding brand started on the beach with 3 friends who wanted to do something different. Shalika Charles, who formulated the drink, discusses the young business with the Yes Business Report.
We wanted to do a twist on a traditional snow cone, and snow cones take you back to childhood generally, where you would just be buying snow cones after school or before school with your parents or whatever. So we wanted to do a take on that but make it adult version, so where the adult now will feel nostalgic to their childhood. And we want to incorporate ice in our drinks because they're better with ice, so it's like nostalgia on ice. And from the time it left my lips and Mikel heard it, because we were like, we need to use nostalgia somewhere in it, we gotta use nostalgia. That was her idea. So I was like, okay, how about nostalgia on ice? She was like, love it.
Yeah, that was it.
She said all local products are used in the composition and they're open to working with individuals or groups in the run-up to national events. Mikel Aline says Nostalgia on Ice is more than just another creation.
Nostalgia on Ice is a combination of myself, Shalika, and Samuel, and we really bring our personality to the business. So we bring our personality to the brand. So like Shalika would have said, it's an experience. We don't just sell cocktails or snow cones, we give you an experience.
Knowing that they are products of the Youth Entrepreneurship Scheme, they say yes is the reason for the existence of Nostalgia on Ice. Mikel adds that they are in it for the long haul.
I would say it's the reason we're here.
Yeah.
Because we met through their business development course. We were challenged actually in the business lab to create a business in less than a week. We did. We came up with it. We went to the beach, as I mentioned earlier, and we sold out. We were well received with locals and tourists. We were very well received. So that's how it helped us start. Where it's going to take us, we recently had an event at one of the local hotels. They've asked us to come back several times. They've invited us, and they contacted us through the Youth Entrepreneurship Scheme.
I feel like because of it, I got a lot of development, and it gave me a different business idea, because we came out not even doing the business that we went in thinking we were going to be pursuing. So to be able to land on something completely new and garner this relationship and realize, okay, well, we could push this business, and having them provide help in terms of marketing mentors, doing workshops, all of that helps us to help the business. So it's been a really great experience. I'm actually very glad that I would have signed up to do it, because when I saw it, I was like, I wonder if I have the time to actually do it. But actually making the time to put into myself and invest in myself, it was a great opportunity.
Reaching Nostalgia on Ice is not difficult.
We are online based, so all you have to do is reach out to our social media, which is nostalgia_on_ice on Instagram. And you just send us a quick DM and say, well, we would like to have this particular flavor, and we will make arrangements to get it to you. Even if you are not sure about the business itself and our flavors, you can set up a tasting and we will make sure that you get a taste of it, and a taste of nostalgia basically.
Spiked sorrel, Brazilian lemonade, hot cake, and a soursop flavor that is yet to be named are the choices of Nostalgia on Ice. Trevor Thorpe for the Yes Business Report.
Despite the belief there's a lack of opportunities available for young people, Minister of Youth, Sports and Community Empowerment Charles Griffith says that is not the case. Minister Griffith was addressing 441 participants during an orientation ceremony for Project Dawn at the Samuel Jackman Prescott Institute of Technology. Project Dawn is an initiative of the SJPI's Distance and Continuing Education Open and Flexible Learning Center and the Ministry of Youth.
And if there's a belief that there's a drought, and if they believe that there's a dearth of those opportunities, I want to suggest to all of you this evening who will be enrolling at the SJPI that this is your oasis. This is your opportunity to water at the wells of education through Project Dawn and through the government of Barbados.
Minister Griffith told participants they could also engage in the Youth Entrepreneurship Scheme should they want to engage in self-employment.
This may provide for some of you an opportunity to engage in a second chance. The certificate that you will receive at the end of your training program is not a certificate that will have a certificate of participation. It is carrying a legitimate stamp from the Samuel Jackman Institute, one that you can hang on the walls and one that you can use, if not self-employment, entry-level employment on this island.
Welcome back, Damien. What do you have for us in this sports segment?
Well, a double dose of netball. Wendy Alwyn Babb has resigned as head coach of the Barbados Under-21 national netball team with immediate effect. CBC's Margaret Boyce has been following the story.
The news comes after an incident in the local BNA Premier League on April 15th, where Bob, the coach of Spooners Hill Firebirds, ordered his players to leave the court during a match against St. Barnabas. Bob has cited concerns over the officiating, stating that he was worried about the safety of his players at the time. It caused a premature end to the game with St. Barnabas won 41-34. As a result, it is understood that the matter was set to be heard by the BNA's Tournament Disciplinary Committee. In another twist, CBC Sports understands that last night, Bob tendered his resignation. When contacted, Bob said he preferred not to speak on the record. However, BNA President Dr. Carmita Duggan confirmed the development. In a statement, she said, quote, subsequent to your phone call, BNA Inc. can confirm that we have received a notice of resignation as coach of the U21 squad. The management team has been informed and the current coaches and technical coaching director will continue to work with the squad. We take the opportunity to thank Mr. Bob for his voluntary service throughout the months of preparation of the U21 squad. Barbados' Under-21 team is currently in training for the World Cup qualifiers from July 6th to 15th in Guadeloupe. The top 3 nations will advance to the Netball World Youth Cup in Gibraltar next year. Anmar Goodrich Boyce, CBC Sports.
Well, UWI Blackbirds put in a stellar performance to outplay a Guardian Group Pride of Villa when the two teams clashed last night at the Netball Stadium in Waterford. The Premier League leaders are now on 20 points with a perfect 4-0 record after beating Villa 65-44 from a 33-22 halftime advantage.
Netball Stadium Court number 2, a battle royale. UWI Blackbirds with possession versus Pride of Villa. Shanika Wharton boxes out the goalkeeper and without any pressure drains the goal. Villa, well, they were active in the shooter circle in that first quarter as well. Latonia Blackman with laser focus from distance. Nothing but net. The workload in the first half for the Blackbirds was shared between Wharton and goal attack Brianna Holder. Slides into position and rolls it in. Finished with 24 goals from 28 attempts. Villa's goal attack, Shakina Rock, limited to 11 shots on the night, but giving her team the 15-14 lead heading into the second quarter, converts one of her 7 goals. The game really turned on its head in the second quarter as the Blackbirds went on a rampage. Shoulder pass to Holder under the cup, not going to miss that. The situation awareness must be commended as well. The Holder-Wharton combo, lethal. Villa's defense looking ragged. The Blackbirds heading into the break up by 10, 33-22. Into the second half we go. Villa on their heels. Wharton with a dart from range. Blackman starved of the ball in passages of play, but when she got the opportunity, near perfect for Villa, hitting 37 goals from 38 attempts. But the task heading into the fourth looked insurmountable. Blackbirds up by 16 goals, 48-32. Holder too quick for the goalkeeper. This one going downhill quickly for Villa as the Blackbirds were in sight of the finish line. Wharton making life comfortable. And you could see from the body language of the Villa players, they were resigned to defeat as the Blackbirds win impressively in the end, 65-44.
Thanks for staying with us. Do enjoy the rest of your evening.